Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this response to my Metroid Prime 4 Beyond video. For those of you who haven't seen that video, I highly recommend you go and watch that, because this is a full response to many of the comments that are in on that video. So first of all, go watch that. You'll have a better understanding as to why I'm making this video. Secondly, let me just start this video by saying I am completely overwhelmed and just shocked at how well that video has done in terms of creating discussion around Metroid Prime 4. I understand that that game right now is incredibly divisive for people, and I think there's a lot of things that I'd like to address in this video that people had mentioned in the comments, just to clarify some things. But even if you agreed, even if you disagreed, the fact that many people came in and still coming in right now about like commenting with me on these videos is an incredible thing. Like, I'm super grateful for it, and like, please, even if we disagree, please understand that like I completely respect how people are feeling about this game. But there are some things that I personally want to touch on that may have come up while in the comments of that video that I just want to clarify for people what's true and what's not true. Let's start with the title of the video, because I really think a lot of people got quite upset with me calling Metroid Prime 4 a masterpiece. Now, just for a little bit of context, if I don't like using a numbered scale from 0 to 10 or 1 to 10, however, I think that in my case, if 5 is an average game, and then you have your scale below and above. If you go from 5 average, 6 is above average, 7 is good, 8 is great, 9 is amazing, and then 10, realistically to me, is a masterpiece. That's not to say that the game doesn't have flaws, it's not to say that the game doesn't have issues, it's just that game is so good, and like that I had such a good time with it that I can overlook any issues that may or may not have popped up in the game. So originally the video was going to be titled, is Metroid Prime 4 the best game to come out in 2026? I had a different structure for the video. I was going to do 3 statements throughout the video and talk about those 3 statements and use relevant things with the game. However, that didn't really suit how I was feeling about the game. I wanted to basically convey how much fun I was having, and I hope that came through in the video. I do believe that a lot of people will still like, hey, hang on, this isn't a masterpiece to me, and I completely get that, and I'm not going to ignore the fact that some people really aren't going to enjoy that title. However, masterpiece for me is more of, how did you personally feel about the game? How does it, like, you know, does it live up to the things that you want? All this sort of stuff. Like, I had such a good time with the game that I couldn't give it anything else. I was like, this game's just so much fun from start to finish, like absolute blast. It set out to do a first-person adventure, and I got that. I really felt that I got that. Now, does it suck that you guys didn't feel that? Some people, especially some people, not feeling that way? Absolutely. I feel for you guys that wanted this game to be something else. But for me personally, it was a game that hit all the right marks. Like, totally fun, enjoyed it. The sound design, the music, the visuals, everything about this game I really enjoyed, right? And even if you disagree, you need to respect that just because I enjoy something and you don't, doesn't mean that you're wrong, doesn't mean that I'm wrong, okay? We're just on different places. So I get it. Using the term masterpiece is a very strong word. It wasn't clickbait. Somebody had mentioned about that in the comments. It was not clickbait. It's just how I felt about the game. Anytime I create videos like this, it is purely because I want to create a video. I want to put out how I feel, but I do want people to comment and say how they feel about it and start a conversation and actually elaborate on their points, which many of you did. Some people not so much, but you know, not everyone's going to be pleased. Not everyone wants to agree, and that's fine. I just want to give examples of a few other masterpieces or games that I consider to be that, so you know where I'm coming from. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is probably my favourite game of all time. Super Mario Bros. 3, Donkey Kong Country, what else do we have there? Advance Wars Reboot Camp, a game that I'm sure a lot of people didn't like, but for me personally, I love Advance Wars, so getting them together. And then Deus Ex Human Revolution is another example of a game that I truly believe to be like a masterpiece. If you want examples of games I didn't like, but would respect people for saying that, Hollow Knight, Baldur's Gate 3, Expedition 33, all 3 of those games, while not the... I don't think they deserve that title personally. If you think those games are worth it, then like that 10 out of 10, that high praise, then awesome. That's really good. You know, I'm glad that you enjoyed those games as much as you did. So one thing I think that came from this video that made me realize is that people need to, most people do, but just respect that just because you didn't like something or you didn't get the experience that you wanted doesn't invalidate my experience. I'm not sitting here making a video about this game gushing over it because I'm trying to tell you lies or how I didn't feel. I'm telling you how the game made me feel and how much I enjoyed it. As somebody who is newer to Metroid Prime in terms of playing through more of the series, this game hit all the right notes for me. I have played about half of Metroid Prime Remastered. I have played a few hours, I think the first 5 hours of Metroid Prime 3. I've not played Metroid Prime 2, right? I enjoyed what I've played at the other games. It's just this one clicked with me because I preferred a more linear game, clearly, right? I love Metroid Dread. I love Metroid Zero Mission. What are those games? They're also quite linear. I wasn't as big a fan of Super Metroid. That's not anything against that game. I think that game was phenomenal. But I was more, I like a slightly more guided Metroid experience. And I think there are some comments in this video that talk about how other games, why I'm comparing other games, or even comparing other games to Metroid Prime 4 in terms of what they did or did not do better. Let's touch on just the Federation troopers. Let's touch on NPC dialogue. I did say very clearly, and I was very kind of sick of the media and other people saying how bad the Federation troopers were, and I really don't think they're that bad. I understand not everybody wants them there. I understand that they can be a little bit too chatty, but that dialogue and that writing really isn't that bad, and I am confused, and I think we're just going to have to agree to disagree. I don't understand people's hate for them. I understand you preferring the isolation and loneliness that Samus has when she's off and about. I get that. But I don't understand why people are like, these characters are annoying. And I'm like, well, they've all got different personalities. The point of they're all soldiers, but they're allowed to be different. You don't want all of them to be the same. So I find that kind of weird. And yes, there is a comparison to Metroid Dread. Yes, there's a comparison to Metroid Other M. And even Fusion, even though it's not spoken dialogue, has a lot of dialogue in it. And Metroid Prime 3 as well. These games do it differently. Dread does it in a way where you primarily talk to a robot, and the rest of the time is you speak to like one Chozo or two Chozo, I guess, and Samus speaks in that language. So it's not as like constant, but there is discussion, dialogue in it. Metroid Prime 3 is probably the closest to Prime 4 in terms of people that speak throughout the game. You obviously have the AI robots and as your hint system in those, and then obviously Other M was a bit too much talking, I guess. I'd never finished that game, so I think the comparisons are saying, oh, this game's really bad because of the NPCs is kind of a bit of an odd one to me, just because there are other NPCs in the other games. Yes, it's handled differently in some of them, but it still exists. It's still there. I guess the only thing I could say is that, yeah, Miles is a bit too hand-holdy, which for some people, is going to be annoying. For me, I didn't really care, but, it's a valid criticism, right, if you didn't enjoy that. The other thing as well is the desert. The desert was obviously a big thing that came up. A lot of people said it was bland. A lot of people said it was boring, which, completely subjective. I get that. The bike is the only thing that I don't agree with people. People said, oh, the bike doesn't handle very well. I'm like, the bike handles incredibly well. The only time that is kind of a pain is when you're trying to do a quick turn to smash into crystals. I'll give you that. That can be a bit fiddly, but bombing across the desert, you feel like you're in a dune buggy. You're going up and down and all that. So there are those points, the deserts, the desert, the Fed troopers, and obviously me calling it a masterpiece seem to be the three biggest contentions. I guess the last thing I will say is a lot of people said this game is bad. Now, I think if you're talking from as a Metroid point of view, is it a good Metroid game? I guess there's things that could be better, a bit more exploration, a little less hand-holdy, things like that could increase what makes a Metroid game. But I do think people are wrong by using the term bad. A bad game would feel really badly, like control really badly. And I'm like, Samus feels just as good, if not better, in this game to the other Prime games with all the different control schemes. So you've already got that. You've got a very nice looking game. You've clearly had money poured into it. I think personally, and what I think people mean is it's a bad Metroid game, or they think the game is boring. In which case that would put it at a 5, which is an average game. Maybe a 4 out of 10 at below average, but I think going anything below an average game is disingenuous, and I think people out there that are calling this a bad game, you need to rethink how you're explaining this game, because there aren't many bad games in terms of when games come out with a big budget and things like that. If the game handles well, if the game doesn't crash, or crashes a very small amount of the time, very small bugs, the music's put in there, like all the qualities are there. Just because you didn't enjoy it doesn't make it a bad game. It probably just made it either a boring game or an average game to you personally, and that's fine. Right? It's just, there's no way this game could be a bad game, like in terms of like what's there. So just something that I was thinking about. One thing I do want to address though is that for every single one of you that did leave a comment and you were quite aggressively like unhappy with the game, look, I feel you. I'm not making my video to invalidate how you're feeling. You obviously wanted a Metroid Prime game in the style of the other Prime games. Well, not Prime 3, but Prime 1 or Prime 2, right? And you didn't get that, or you feel like you didn't get that, right? And for that, I do feel sorry for you, right? Because it's like you've waited all this time to want to play a brand new Prime game that you can be excited about. The only issue with this is that sometimes you have to look at the product that you've got, not the product that you wanted. And I know that's hard to do. I'm guilty for that as well. But ultimately, this is the game we've got. If this game exists now and they go forward and make a Prime 5, hopefully they can change up the open world if they're going to do that at all, go back to more open zones, really kind of go back to a style that a lot of people want. The issue is you're going to run into is maybe not everybody wants that style. It's hard making video games trying to please old fans and new fans, right? I think they should go forward and innovate. I think they should do new things. Definitely make the areas a little bit more open. But this is, I guess linearity for the most part is a lot of the time it's to do with trying to just make it easier for the player, which not everybody wants in their games. I get that. But try not to be angry at people like me. Try not to be angry at people that actually enjoyed the game. Like, I'm not out here telling you that you're wrong, right? If you didn't enjoy the game, you didn't enjoy the game. It's simple as that. I did. I think the game is phenomenal, right? And I have seen other YouTubers, people that I follow, very big YouTubers that have really ragged on this game. And I disagree with them in so many areas where it's just like, I just think they're flat out wrong. But they're not, right? That's how they feel about the game. They wanted that game to be something it isn't. And I've been there, right? And that does genuinely suck. And for those people out there, I hope that Metroid Prime 5 or whatever 2D Metroid games come out down the line that people enjoy and they get what they want, right? I want people to be happy with their games. I want us to like enjoy the games we get and get to play. All in all, I am, like I said at the beginning, very grateful for this video to have blown up. For that Metroid video to blown up and to create that discussion. That is something that is incredibly important to me. It's about having discussion. Not everybody knows how to do that on the same level, but if you can sit there and say, you know what, I like these parts, I didn't like this, I agree with you on this, I didn't want that, cool. We've had a good discussion, that's worth it. I feel like this video has succeeded where I've tried many other times, and maybe that's because it's the timing, maybe it's because people really didn't think this game was as highly recommended or commended as me, but that's okay. And going forward, I want to I'm going to continually cover more games. I don't think many videos are going to surpass this, but if you were interested in that kind of discussion, if you're interested in that kind of video, stick around. Like, thank you to all the new subscribers. Hello, all the new people that have subscribed. It is incredibly humbling, and there is going to be more topics like this for new games coming out and stuff that I haven't played. I've got an insane back catalogue of games that I want to play for both my Switch and my PC. So, I'm going to be covering as much as I can as always going forward, and I hope that, we can still have these kind of conversations. It's good to know when people enjoy something. It's good to know when they don't necessarily enjoy it. Trying to express myself with why I like or don't like something is really important to me. Sometimes I hit it, sometimes I miss it, but ultimately, this time I feel like I really did a good job of explaining why I like this game. So, thank you so much for watching, as always. If you do like this video, hit the like button. If you want to see more content like this, more discussions, more everything, hit the subscribe, stick around. I'm happy to have you. And until next video, I will see you then.